Yeah, it says it on my screen too.
Cool. Hello, everybody. Anybody's watching? I have no idea who's here. I can see Todd is here and I'm here. I'd like to welcome you. If you're watching, hopefully you are. Oh, I can see there's two people. I've got a little two there.
Oh, do you?
And do you see that? The little two?
No.
Oh, okay. I've got a little
I just
two.
see okay, up next to the live.
Oh, three, almost. Well, look, it's this is very much an experiment, I want to say, to anybody who's watching. Todd and I are having a play with my Restream account. Restream's an account we have in Melbourne to help us broadcast our live stream services to a couple of different platforms at once. And it offers this facility we're using tonight, and I've never used it. A couple of weeks ago, I took part in a radio show which used this sort of facility, and I thought, oh, well, it doesn't look too hard. Let's give it a go. And Todd was willing to be my guinea pig and join me on this. And I thought it'd be interesting just to chat over social media, internet things, and what we've been doing, the two of us, and just see where we go. We do have opportunity if anybody wants to type us a question or a message. It should pop up on my screen here, and I should be able to share it with everybody, and we can answer questions. So that's the agenda for tonight. We'll see how we go, and if it falls over, I have to give you my apologies in advance, but fingers crossed it'll go well. So, I mean, Todd, I want to just start by asking you about your live streaming and your long form videos. You've been doing that kind of thing for quite a while. I wondered, when you started, why you started. Do you want to just talk through your experience of that?
Sure. Well, I started with live streaming for a very simple reason, is because it was requested of me. Some of you who are watching might know Mike and Carrie Lockhart, and they had requested some way to virtually be present in the service. And so it started with me it was like a Skype call. I put a laptop in a pew in the church, created a Skype call, and people who wanted to join in could. And we had, I don't know, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 different people joining in. And the problem with the Skype call is that, let's say something's going on noisily in the background of somebody else's house. Well, the software would jump over to the noisiest person or the noisiest, place. So instead of everybody watching a church service, they might watch somebody, say, vacuuming.
Yeah.
So it became a not such a great solution. So I eventually learned how to do a YouTube live stream where it could just be a one-way communication. But that's how it started, as a desire for people who were no longer near to the church to be able to still be part of it. And it turned out Lockhart's weren't the only ones who were interested in that kind of a service. So it made sense. So our live stream isn't particularly fancy. You've seen it, so it's not, but it's designed for the person who's has a connection to us already.
So how long ago was that you started with those Skype calls?
I would have said like 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. It's been a while.
Okay. And then you transitioned to YouTube?
I think that was around 2017, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because, by the time, COVID hit and people were all jumping on the live stream bandwagon, I was like, oh, yeah, we've been doing this for years. No problem.
Yeah.
And so I got into the longer, like a normal YouTube specific video, just because it felt like, hey, we're not reaching people in high volumes at our church, and with a platform available to do it. And my idea was that, hey, people would be hungry for a reasonable way to understand the scriptures. And what I found out was that I was wrong. We're not hungry for that. So yeah, it's been an adventure.
Yeah. So when did you start your long videos? You remember?
I'm pretty sure that was 2017.
Okay, so not
Pretty
long
sure that was
after you'd
20.
started live streaming, then, really.
No, it all kind of came together about the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now you got me curious. I'm popping onto my YouTube account here just to see how long ago it was. Because I was originally doing the live streams on the church YouTube account that I set up, and now it's onto a Hurstville New Church. Sorry, I started off on a personal YouTube account, and then I changed it over to a church account. So
yeah. Now you did that because of branding or something, or what? What was your reason for the change?
The reason, hang on, I'm just about there to see where my first live stream was October 16th, 2016.
Right.
My first YouTube live stream. So I was doing the Zoom calls before that, or Skypes, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the reason I changed out is because, I am doing a live stream every week on that channel, and I was doing a YouTube specific video about once a month. And so if you liked my YouTube video and you watched it, what's the next thing YouTube's going to give you? The hour-long church service.
Live stream. Yeah.
Right. And I just felt like the people who were going to watch the live stream were not the ones watching the videos, and vice versa. Like, if you watch the 7-minute creation story video, you're not going to be watching the 1-hour church service. So yeah. That's how that changed.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know when we talk about shorts whether you have the same experience with shorts in your long form video, because that's a whole other thing as well. You did a Google course or a YouTube course at some point as well.
Yep. Yeah, that was interesting. The big takeaway from that. Hi, Cliff. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Jen. The big takeaway from that was storytelling. That was their big thing. It's like, look, if you want to, you have to keep attention. That was their thing. You have to get them through as much of the video as possible, and the way you do that is through good storytelling.
Yep.
And that was most of what that thing was, to show people story structures and how to do these things, and making sure your images line up with what you're saying, not just put random stupid stuff in there. Some of it was kind of common sense, but the other piece of the storytelling was, whenever you can, show, don't tell. So if you have a clip of something happening, you showing them a clip of it happening is better than me just telling them,
Yeah.
whatever. So that was the big thing. I don't know how well that fits or has worked for me. I mean, I definitely pay more attention to retention rates as a result of it. I never paid attention to that before. I usually just paying attention to views and subscribers, but now that I know retention rate's the key thing, I do pay attention to it, but I'm still not particularly good at it from what I can figure.
Yeah. Okay. So what's your, I mean, in terms of the retention rates, how many people do you have making it through to the end or near to the end of a video? I mean, I know it varies.
Just talking a normal YouTube video, not a live stream or a short. Standard ones, I'd say the range is anywhere from 30 to 50%. So it's probably on average closer to 40. It's probably about right.
Okay.
That make the whole way through. Some of them I see there and I watch and they're like 30%, and it's like, wow, that's stinkers. But I have some that do closer to 50.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't figured out the magic of how to get, like, I had one video that was scoring really well in retention rate, but for whatever reason it gets like no views, and it's just like, what? That's not. Why is this happening?
Yeah, I've had a similar experience in that it seems like those smaller audiences, maybe maybe it's because it's your existing subscribers or people that are familiar with you. They're wanting your content anyway, so they're watching it all the way to the end. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
I've thought of that, but it has enough views beyond just the standard that I don't think that would apply in the cases that I've been looking at.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that my content typically does well in a Google or a YouTube search parameter. So if you look up meaning of forbidden foods in the Bible, something like that,
yeah.
my video comes up number one.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't come up well if you're just searching, or if you're just kind of showing up on YouTube. It's like if you're searching religious content and explain, creation story explained, I come up, but I don't think I come up in other contexts.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really the search where you're picking up new folk coming through. I mean, your channel's got quite large, really. You're
by new church standards.
Yeah. I think you've done pretty well. And I mean, I guess your YouTube course kind of has helped push that along.
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, if nothing else, it forced me to change my setup. Like my original ones, I'm in the office. I got a green screen. I'm doing that kind of stuff, and I went for what I thought was a nicer aesthetic by recording outdoors.
Yeah.
And using that backdrop and not trying to use as much PowerPoint, but incorporating images and using the editing software. So, I mean, it helped in those kind of technical sides of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting the green screen to work right was always a pain. The lighting was never quite right, or too much on my face or too much there, and you still see the green outline. It's just like, you know what? It looks nicer outside, but the problem is outside is you start to learn how noisy it is outside. You can do 7 minutes of a video, and all of a sudden somebody's jackhammering, or a plane's going overhead, or some trucks going down King George's Road.
Yeah, it becomes much harder, doesn't it, to get that take just right. There's so many other factors that affect the.
That's not even counting for rain and wind and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's right. Hey, look, we've got 7 people online now, which is great.
Right.
I think most people seem to be happy on YouTube. I think Facebook is not playing ball. I don't know. I'll figure that one out when we're finished. What I will say to anybody who's watching, feel free to drop us a question. Just join in the conversation, basically. I'll talk about our journey. So, we moved down to Melbourne, as you know, Todd, 2020. And I always came to Melbourne intending to live stream. I thought about it in Canberra, especially when I saw you doing it. I thought, this is good. But
if the dumb American can do it, I can do it.
I mean, you can see a need for it. And I mean, in a country like Australia, where we've got people in Alice Springs, we've got people in Perth, we've got people all over the place. It just makes sense to have that connection and be able to, get in and watch a service while it's happening. 2020 came to Melbourne, was intending to live stream. Of course, COVID hit, and then that kind of kick-started it, because we actually wouldn't have started live streaming as quickly as we did if it hadn't been for COVID. We were at the time meeting in a community hall, no internet connection, or it might have been there, but it would have been patchy, I imagine. It would have been much more difficult to do. So because COVID hit, we were all locked up, as we were in Melbourne. We just had to buy all the equipment and get on with the live streaming. So, we were originally in a 2-bedroom flat in Kew, and live streaming from the living room area. And then when we moved to this place, we started using a corner of the living room here as well for the live stream. And then in terms of the long form video, what I've done has tended to be, because we live stream this service, it gets recorded, and then I just have edited down the address. Basically, that's been my long form videos. You've made specific content for YouTube, whereas I've taken something I've already done, basically, and then just edit it. And I found over time I've got much more. I'm editing a lot more. Like I'm cutting out a lot more silences and ums and ahs and that sort of thing. So I'm really much harsher on my edits now than I used to be. And then the next thing we did was recording Heaven and Hell. And part of the reason I did that was because I just wanted to get comfortable in front of a camera. I just wasn't at all. And I figured, well, this is the way we're going. I've got to. So reading Heaven and Hell and recording that in video format was just a way of doing that, and then commenting on it. And then I started into shorts last year, about almost a year ago, June 2022.
Okay. So you've been a lot longer than I have.
Well, it was just, I've been watching these guys. Think Media is one. A couple of there's folk on YouTube who are always talking about, media production, and they do camera reviews and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, okay, they're telling me shorts is the thing to do, so I'll give it a go. And basically, I was doing a couple of things. Again, I was taking that long form video, which was my address from Sunday, and repurposing it again. And so cutting up, a minute segment out of that. And I might get 2 or 3 minute segments out of each Sunday. And then I started doing a video specific 1 minute, what I called a midweek moment, and putting up on Wednesday. It's been an interesting journey. It's been highly unpredictable. Like you just, you probably have the same experience. You upload something to 4 different platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and they all perform completely differently on those channels. And there's not much of a sense of why. That this is the thing that gets me. When did you start doing your shorts?
It had been February, because I started it with the our Shift Journey program.
Yeah.
So I started it with making a 1 minute summary of the service I gave on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a clip out. It was just like, all right, what's this service in 60 seconds or less, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing 1 a week for those 7 weeks, and then started trying to, I guess like you, I'd come across YouTube people saying how great shorts are, and try to do 30 shorts in 30 days. And I didn't quite make 30 in 30, but I did a bunch in 30. And like you say, completely, I won't say completely unpredictable, but mostly unpredictable. I think the things that I see is that simple messages do really well.
Yep.
God loves you. He wants to talk to you. Things like that do well. But trying to impart some higher new church theology doesn't always go so well.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Cliff says the shorts are good. Be interested to know, Cliff, what you think your favorite short was. That'd be an interesting question to put out there to anybody. If you've seen it, Todd's shorts or my shorts, which one did you think that was best? And be gentle to both of us, please. So in terms of doing shorts, do you think it's done anything for your channel? Do you think it's grown your channel in any way? Or because I sense that it has for me. I've got a tiny channel compared to you. But do you think it's grown your channel?
It has, not by perhaps as much as I was hoping.
Okay.
Put it to you this way. If you look, say, end of last year, I was averaging 3,000, 3,500 views a month.
Yep.
And I was getting probably, I don't remember, but I feel like it's around 30 to 40 subscribers a month. So a little more than one a day kind of thing. Right now, I'm sitting closer to 7,500 views a month. I'd gotten all the way up to I was almost at 9,000 views when I was doing almost a short a day. So, it definitely gets more views for sure. My subscriber count, though, on a monthly basis, never exceeded 60. I think right now it's probably in the 50s. So I don't know. I kind of thought there'd be more of a jump than that. The other disappointment that exists for me is it seems that it's been a couple of weeks since I looked at this, but my long form videos actually were being cannibalized by the shorts. So like, even though my overall views were up, the long form video views were actually down.
We're down. So this is down compared to prior to doing the shorts, because you had a period, I think you kind of stopped doing your long form videos for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. Was there a particular reason for that? Just
I was frustrated. Yeah, exactly. What it was is that I felt like, hey, I've been doing this for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or whatever it was at that time, and it just felt like my audience base wasn't actually growing. Like, I put out a new video, and I was still getting 150 views on it, which is the same thing I was getting when I first started. And in fairness, it might be a different 150 people, but it just felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere. And what I had done, and I probably told you this before, but like, I started the first few long form videos, just put them out there, and it seemed to do okay. And then I got some money, did some advertising. So I'd do a video, I'd advertise it to get maybe a couple thousand views on it, just to make a number look good, get it out there. And that would grow subscriber base as well. But what I found is that the plus to doing it that way is it seemed like there was enough data on the video that YouTube understood better where to, or who to market it to, who would do it. So like, I could do a video, and once I got say a couple thousand views on it, it would start to generate its own views after that. Versus if I put out a video and it had 200 views, it would just kind of sit there and languish. So I did that for the advertising gig for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I forget how long. And some of the videos, yeah, they took off. Like the creation story video, it went, nowhere for a while. I put some advertising on it, took it back off, and ever since then, it was, one of my better performing videos. People would come back to it. But then I stopped the advertising to figure out, okay, surely I've built up enough of a base now that I can not have to do this. And then I did stop it, and views went, with advertising, my views were probably around 10,000 a month. And when I took the advertising away, it went down to, like I say, 3,000, 3,500, something like that. And I put out a new video, and there'd be like I say, 150 views, something like that on it. It's just like, well, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? My thought was, I'm clearly not doing this right. So what can I do differently? And
yeah. Okay. One of the things I've done with advertising is I'll look at I'm doing 3 shorts a week basically. So I'll look at how they perform, and if and I'm not talking the numbers that you get. So if I get a short that sort of has a couple of hundred views, then I'll throw some advertising money at that, because I think for whatever reason YouTube likes it. So, and it's pretty much YouTube's that's all the advertising I'm doing, and so that that pushes that out to more people. So if only gets 20, 30 views, or under 100 views, as I'm not advertising it at all. That was my thinking. My experience with the shorts has been that I think it is growing my channel. Again, I mean, not talking the numbers you've got. I'm currently sitting at 275 subscribers.
Okay.
That's 62 in a month. That's what I'm growing at the moment, and I think that's up to shorts. Well, it's been interesting. It was sitting at like 10% of, so if you were around 200, I was getting 20 in the month. But then for whatever reason, in the last month, it's gone up to like 20% at least, or more. you know.
Advertising always did a good job of getting me subscribers too.
But I don't think it's
But
I don't think it's my advertising that's getting me subscribers. I think it's shorts.
but aren't you advertising the short?
I'm advertising some of them, but I don't see. So, you know, as I say, I will advertise a well-performing short, right?
Mhm.
But the thing is, I'm noting the numbers before I advertise it, and then I advertise it and I see what happens. I'm not
Okay.
getting more subscribers because I advertise that short. I get this. I will get some subscribers from it before, but generally not speaking with the advertising. So,
Okay.
but yeah, which is interesting. What I did find was I had one. There was one that I advertised. And again, it wasn't to do with the advertising. So I had an experience where a couple of months I issued a short on righteousness, and it got, you know, a handful of views, not much. And then 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did another one on righteousness, which did do well. And the first one on righteousness shot up and actually had more views than the one that did well a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
But that happened before I advertised any of them. And I advertised that second one to see if I, you know, push a bit more action and that sort of stuff. But all of those, the extra subscribers, the extra views that I got on that first video happened after the second video, but before I advertised the second video. So it's just, yeah, it's a wild ride.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, I've not tried advertising shorts, and I look, it's a wild ride without advertising. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into this now, but I was actually talking with Jen, kind of complaining to her about the craziness of my Instagram videos, and recounting to her, here's the numbers I've had over the last, like, 8 videos. So just for fun, here's my last here's my last 8 videos. All right, this is just Instagram.
Yeah.
604, 115, 8,859, 1293, 85, 113, 2,500, and 50.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So that one that hit the 8,000 mark, do you know why it hit the 8,000 mark? Like, is there anything about that video you think, oh yes, that's a winner, you know, and you can see why it's a winner?
No. I mean, considering, like, I had one other that hit 8,000. And that was an Easter time video, and that one made some sense to me. Because it was, well, Easter, and Jesus makes the promise about how people can believers can drink poison and not die.
No, yeah.
So that was a good performing one. But this other one that did 8,000, or almost 9, was titled "The Biblical Symbolism of Crossing the Jordan." It's like,
yeah.
Okay. And what I was saying to Jen is, like, look, I did 3 videos last week that were about Philistines, and the one that I thought would be the most interesting, which is why the Philistines are referred to as uncircumcised, not only did bad on Instagram, but did it bad across all platforms.
Okay.
It was like,
yeah.
I couldn't figure it. I thought, oh, this is a winner of a topic. Nope.
Yeah.
But another one I did on Philistines, it actually did reasonably well. Got a couple thousand views on Instagram and whatever else. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. My experience with it, the one that really stands out for me is I had one video I put on TikTok, or it was on TikTok that it went crazy. We were away on holiday in November, and because I was away, we didn't have a service on Sunday. I published an old service, and so this was one that I'd done several years ago. The quality of the video was really bad, compared to what we're doing these days. I think we're doing better than we were, which you would hope, after 2 years. So the quality of the video was really bad, and I just cut it down to this, 30 or 40-second short, and I just pushed it out to the platforms as usual, and it got between 11 and 12,000 views. This thing, and I look at it and thought, why that one? I say that the quality of the video is terrible. I didn't think anything that I said was particularly, insightful, or, it was just something about it that got picked up and off it went on TikTok. You look at the other platforms and it just goes nowhere.
Right.
I can ask, given on the platforms now, you've had, a couple of months of experience doing this. Are you noticing any trends? Are some platforms doing better than they were? Are some doing worse than they were?
Well, okay. I feel like, well, and I talked a little bit about this a week or two ago. It felt like where TikTok started off really hard and fast and has tapered down.
Yeah.
Instagram started off, at 0, 0, 0, 0, and after a while, it started to go somewhere. Or at least, even though I had, like I say, the one that was 100 views last week, I have winners now. Usually when it started, it was like 35, 40 views, and that was it. So now if I get something that's under 100, I go, oh, that was a bad one. YouTube's weird. It's seen some growth, not as much as I would have hoped for, but at the same time, most of my YouTube ones are getting between 200 to 300 views. Probably, and then I get the winner like once a month. It's like YouTube throws me a bone and says, here, we'll give you one that gets 1,200 views.
Yeah.
And it just happens once a month. No real explanation. I think they're just trying to make me feel better. The real mystery for me, though, is Facebook, because that's the platform I cared the least about. I don't know why. I just have this natural disdain to Facebook, I guess. But I've always had distrust about their numbers, but that's the one that's gone and shown me the most growth. Like, it seems like it's seeing slow and steady growth on that one. Right now, it's got the #1 short. One of those went to 15,000 views. And I've got some others that are in the 6,000 views and some of the 5,000 views. So, I mean, some of those have done pretty well, and most of them right now are between 1,000 and 2,000 views. So that's been the most steady as far as an overall, like the floor has raised and the ceiling's been raised on Facebook. And what Jen, she monitors the Facebook church page more than I do. And she's telling me, yeah, we're getting a lot more, followers to the page and comments and stuff that. So, I feel like that's where I've seen the most growth.
Okay. Now Cliff's got a comment here. They have the truth intellectually. They don't do anything with it. Is that correct?
Well, we're trying to provide them the truth. You're talking about Philistines. He's talking about Philistines. The Philistines was a good one. Okay.
Yeah, you like the Philistines.
That's right. The Philistines have the truth and they don't do anything with it. Correct. Yeah. And it's not just any kind of truth. It's about, they have spiritual knowledge. They have knowledge of spiritual things, not just scientific stuff. Yeah. So that's right.
So, do you have a vision for the future going forward with what you're doing? Is it just you're trying to do the same old, and you're experimenting a bit, or have you got a particular vision in mind for where you're going?
Well, right now, what I'm trying to do is, so when we did the Journey program back in February, March, I had a fair bit of good feedback on those sermons. And so what I'm trying to do is keep the short feed running off of stuff that I produced last year. So I'm going through last year's sermons, basically taking one sermon, making 3 1-minute shorts out of that. And then I'm going back to the, yeah, you're not a Philistine, Cliff, don't worry about it. Then go back to the the journey stuff I did earlier this year and turn those into YouTube videos, because those sermons had really good feedback. And I figured, well, I'll give it a shot, see if I can do something. And part of me, honestly, has resolved to care less about the numbers and just, just put stuff out there that I think is good. I feel like that's honoring the job, the teachings, and everything like that. And just, there's some stories in the Bible. You probably can figure some of these out, that where God's basically says, don't worry about the outcome, worry about the process. And I'm trying to actually live that.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have a grand vision other than I'm just going to keep trying. I'll keep mucking around with some different ideas as I come across them, and see where it goes.
Yeah. So for us, what I'd like to be able to do is grow our local audience to the point where I can start invite people along, physically. That would be ideal. I mean, like, I know you have a lot of your audience in the US, I think. A lot of mine are in the UK or New Zealand, it seems. That's the one thing I will say for Facebook. I have to say, Facebook seems to have a higher percentage of people actually in Melbourne than any of the other platforms. Okay. Like if you look at the stats it offers you. So that's, maybe I should be going back to Facebook advertising, just because it seems to target, our local vicinity much more accurately than the others do. Instagram's off in India and the Philippines and stuff like that, which is great, but they're no good in terms of growing a congregation or getting a local base of support. So yeah, for us, just keep doing what we're doing. I want to keep live streaming the services. I'm going to keep just doing the long form videos. The way that I do is just easy. It's reusing the same material again, which is kind of what you're doing. Getting two uses out of it, and then if we can grow the local base here, that's kind of the hope. Yeah, and it'd be nice to get stuff like this going too.
Yeah, look, at everybody's the magic word that I keep coming across is community. That's what these churches want, is some local community. Yeah. And the idea is, if you put out enough videos and stuff to outreach and say, hey, this is something I want to be part of, so that the videos can find the right people. So yeah, it's hard. The suggestion I've been told from the Bernathen guys who get into this stuff is, particularly on YouTube, just setting up a Patreon account and trying to get that rolling. And the idea is, you build your audience and then you invite them to a special event. Oh, well, we're going to have a special event at, the pub tonight, whatever, and come out and join us. Some way to establish that early contact. So I've only just set up a Patreon account a couple weeks ago, and I don't think I have anybody who's actually subscribed to it. Yeah, okay. I did set it up. Yeah. And so I put a link to that in with my long form videos now.
Yeah, okay. So those Bernathen guys, are they having any sort of success in that sort of area? Do you know?
I don't think so. I don't think they're having it yet. They're getting ready to launch a campaign, an advertising campaign that they think has the potential to bring them some results, but it's still in the whole, hey, this is our plan, that we haven't actually implemented to see if it will actually bear any fruit. So I don't know about you, but I've heard of other church growth plans that have sounded really good in theory, but it didn't actually pan out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to try it, don't you? What else can you do?
That's right.
It's just getting in there and giving it a go.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you for taking the time, Todd, to have a chat, and thanks to everyone who joined us on the live stream to try it out. Obviously, YouTube's worked really well. Facebook, I don't know. we'll get to the bottom of it and figure out what that is. I will say people have noticed that my video is glitchy, and yeah, I think my connection is not good this evening for whatever reason. So I will also try and get to the bottom of that. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking part in the experiment. And who knows, we might try it again one day.
I'll be here when you're ready.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.